Precision Tailors, Twin and Chevie.
Welcome to Tailors Talk Podcast, the podcast where we explore the stories of resilience, community, and connection in the heart of America. I'm your host, Mattie B, and today we're traveling down the dusty trails of Mississippi to tell the tale of two Mississippians, one from Columbus and the other from Hattiesburg. They grew up navigating life in the backroads of Mississippi from 1980 to 1993. This is a story of friendship, challenges, and triumphs. Let's dive in. To truly understand their story, we need to understand Mississippi during the 1980s. The backroads weren't just a physical place. They were a place of life. Dirt paths led to small communities where everyone knew everyone. But for African Americans, the legacy of segregation still lingered. Our two protagonists, Twin and Chevie, grew up in this environment. Let's meet them. For Twin, life in Columbus meant days spent with his twin brother adventuring the city, going to the park playing baseball, and helping his grandparents with their gardens. Everyone give a round of applause for Twin.
Hey, everybody. I'm Darrell Twin Smith. You know, I'm a real twin, so, that's what it is. But how y'all doing out there? Growing up in Mississippi, it had its privileges. And I would say because at the end of the day, you learn a lot of good values and learn to be humble and also learn how to take care of your person to your left and right. Growing up in the 80s, it was fun. I would definitely say that. As a little kid, you're exploring the outdoors. You're running up and down dirt trails, playing with my great granddaddy. He had pigs, horses, chickens. As a little kid, I was out there exploring it all. Me and my twin brother. My sister, she was more like, she was in the house. She was too cool to get dirty. But growing up in Mississippi, it was good as a young kid. Like I said, I played baseball growing up. Football, my mama always made us quit because she didn't want us to get hurt. She told me that when I was 26. As a kid, I couldn't understand it, but baseball was the safer sport. I tried basketball. I got cut. I never went back out. But at the end of the day, I learned a lot of good values in Mississippi growing up, going out there, not scared to climb trees and jump in ditches full of water, play on the railroad tracks, throwing railroad rocks at the train as it passed by. Some good things happen in good old Columbus, Mississippi. And that's the gist of me as a little jit growing up in Columbus, Mississippi. C-Town is going down.
Meanwhile, in Hattiesburg, Chevie spent his days playing sports, spending time with friends, and going on adventures around the city. Everyone, give a round of applause for Chevie.
All right. What's up, good people? My name is Tailors Revis. Everyone called me Chevie. I'm from Hattiesburg, Mississippi. I'm from a small section in Hattiesburg, Mississippi called East Jerusalem Quarters. And it was a big community, big family. Grew up around a lot of great people. That's where I learned a lot of great skills and a lot of values and moral that I use to this day. Growing up in southern Mississippi was a blessing. I learned so many great things that I apply to everyday life and everything that I do nowadays. Like I say, I'm from the HUBCITY, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, to the day I die. The Pine Belt, the 39401, Forest County, baby, that's in the 601. Yep, Hattiesburg, Mississippi, born and raised.
Despite their different towns, their stories share a common thread, the deep connection to family and community that define their upbringing. As the 80s turned into the 90s, Both men faced new challenges. Twin and Chevy struggled with realities of being young black men in the South while dreaming of leaving the backroads to see the world. In the midst of it all, they found mentors, teachers, coaches, and community leaders who saw their potential and encouraged them to dream big.
So yes, back in the, like I said, going from the '80s to the '90s, it was it was a drastic difference. Going from being a kid riding bicycles, running up and down the streets. Now you at a teenage age where you watching, you know, my parents split up at a young when I was young, but as you see my mom struggle doing two, three jobs just to keep a roof over our heads and food in our mouths, tend to, push you out there in them streets. And around that time, that's when colors came out. The drugs flooded the Golden Triangle. That's Columbus, Starsville, West Point. So those things kind of, you seeing me personally, me seeing some of the stuff that I kind of contribute to helping destroy our community. I had, a conscience where I definitely had to get out of it. But, for the men in our community, my grandfather, um, John Harris, they was more of they kept us out the street by making us go out there. I got them carpentry skills from them in Chester. John and Chester Harris and my grandfather, they kind of made us get out there and work hard. I didn't like it, but it kept me out them streets. It got me to a point where, I definitely appreciate each and every one of them. Mr. Coleman, he was our vice principal in high school. He was an alpha, and the first time, that's when I used to look at I was in his office a lot because I was in trouble. But I always wondered, I like, what is that? So, when school days came out, that's, oh, Mr. Mr. Coleman, the alpha. So, if I ever would have had pledged a fraternity, it would have been an alpha. But they was real good men in my community that made me understand the value of being a good man.
Beautiful.
All right, man. Growing up in Southern Mississippi in the '80s, going into the '90s, it was definitely uh, good, bad, and ugly times, but we got through it. I had a lot of great mentors from church mentors, Larry Dickens at the Boys and Girls Club, and all his volunteers. They helped us a lot. Of course, it always started at home with both my parents. And a lot, still uncles, cousins, people like that. So I could have either went either way in life. I had a lot of good, bad, and ugly influence, but growing up where I'm from, people try to keep you on the right track and stir you where you need to be. I knew growing up, just seeing some of my relatives used to come into Hattiesburg from Chicago, New York, California, and the Midwest, places like that, even down in New Orleans and Florida, seeing how they came with all their flashy clothes and rings and things and all this stuff, cool cars and everything. So it was a big influence on it, and they also brought some of them brought the gang culture to Mississippi. So it could have went either way with me. So I'm glad I just had the right people in my corner to keep me on the straight and narrow.
Growing up on the back roads taught them resilience and resourcefulness. Twin and Chevy learned the value of hard work from their families and found inspiration in the rich musical heritage of Mississippi.
So yeah, growing up in Mississippi, yeah, it's Mississippi a musical state itself. I remember growing up doing on Sundays after you get out of church, you running into every house you walk past. They playing the blues. You got the old man down the street sitting up on the chair with that little radio, listening to the blues. Our neighbor, may she rest in peace, her name was Rose. Rose will play blues all day long. Saturday and Sunday. And my mom, she usually play blues when she clean up. So when she cut the blues on, we know we finna be cleaning up for the rest of the day. So it's a real musical town, musical state. Period. Because even just not the blues, I grew up around a lot of people that was part of the Mississippi Mass Choir, and so as you listen to the gospel music, the blues, me growing up, hip hop was more of as a kid, listen to Run DMC, LL Cool J, and then it just like I started listening to all forms of East Coast rap, West Coast. The South will always prevail. So regardless of if you like it or not, the South then took over. But it's one of those things where music as a whole speak to me no matter where it comes from.
Again, growing up in Mississippi, definitely work was definitely on your schedule at an early age. All right. Like I say, my parents used to wake me up. My dad, in particular, used to wake us up every Saturday morning around about 5 o'clock in the morning, and we try to go mow everybody's yard in the neighborhood. We have about 8 to 10 yards done before 12 o'clock. As you know, Mississippi has two suns. It's hot as hell there, so definitely got to have on your sunscreen. But we didn't have sunscreen back there. We just had to put on whatever we had to put on and get through it. And I tie all that in with being from Mississippi and hard work because Mississippi is the home of blues and home of rock and roll. My hometown is where rock and roll started at in Hattiesburg, Mississippi, in a small juke joint. And you could trace the lineage all the way back to that. But going back to that, working hard, I was playing, I go out mowing yards, but I always had music with me. I always had some kind of music form or some kind of source to play music. And on Sundays, people used to come over our house. We were the party house, and AKA the bootleg house, because you couldn't buy liquor on Sunday. So people used to come over our house, and we'd there just enjoy each other company after church and listen to the blues and have fun and do what they do for the rest of the evening. So, Mississippi.
Today, Twin and Chevy have taken the lessons from their childhoods and applied them to their lives, both becoming members of the United States Army and leaders in their professional field of work.
So as those journeys from childhood to my late teens, after you tend to try to you want to be a productive citizen. I end up going to Hines Community College down in Natchez, not Natchez, but Utica, Mississippi. I only was there for a semester, but again, me as a child, teenager, we're not really paying attention to how your parents gonna fund that education. So when I realized she was struggling, me and my twin brother decided to come home because she couldn't afford to keep both of us in college. My sister, she got scholarships, so she was good. Me and my brother wasn't, so came back home, started to get back into trouble. So my mom, she was a straight shooter. She did not play. Anybody that know me will tell you, Gloria Jean did not play, and she meant every word she said. If she when what Ti son said, stand on business, she stood on business. And one day, she on her way to work, she coming in tell me and my brother, y'all sleep all day and be gone all night. If you don't have a job when I get home, you got to get out my house. I'm like, bruh, what we gonna do? And then I'm thinking, I'm watching TV, I'm looking, that old army commercial, that army commercial had popped up, and I like, oh man. So my cousin was going through the same thing, and I was like, hey, cuz, y'all, let's join the army. Everybody said they was, but I was the only one to go to the recruiting station. And as I got down there to the recruiting station, I had to go to Sarn Mays. Sarn Mays was the high school recruiter that used to come to the school all the time. And I definitely, you know, I gave him a little pushback. Every time he came around, I'm quoting on the Ghetto Boys rhymes to him. Bush was talking about he ain't going no war for no. Y'all know what he said, but at the end of the day, I had to go sit down with that man and join the army. And I only thought I was gonna go in and get some college money, but end up retiring out the army.
All right. So I knew from an early age that I was going to join the military. I had a lot of relatives that actually joined the military, and I used to come home with fly cars and all these other things, and it's like, man, I want to do that. I struggled in school from junior high all the way to high school, so I already knew I had a plan to join the military. Um, like I said, I barely made it out of high school. My classmate used to always say, "Hey, which college you going to? Or what college had you applied to?" I was like, "I'm not going. I'm not wasting them people time. I'm joining the military." I almost joined the Marine because of the uniform, but like I say, I joined the military. I almost didn't make it. I had to really focus. The recruiter took me down to Jackson, Mississippi. I took the ASVAB. I failed it. He like, "Hey man, you gotta do something, man. You gotta really lock in." So I stopped hanging out with my friends, going to the library every day, really studying, and then I passed it, barely passed it. I only had two choices: scout and infantry, and we'll talk about that a little later. But like I say, I finally got in, and it was probably the best decision I ever made in my life is joining the military.
Their stories remind us that even in the face of adversity, there's beauty and strength to be found in the back roads. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the back roads of Mississippi. Twin and Chevie, your stories are a testament to resilience, community, and the enduring power of connection. To our listeners, if you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share your own stories of growing up in small town America. Until next time, keep celebrating the roots that ground us and the roads that take us forward.